What's up, guys? It's the Jeremy
and Carey
show. Ask us, let us.
Anything?
Yeah. Anything. Today, guys, we're talking about goals. 2020, 2021, the future. How are we going to set ourselves up to succeed? But we still got 3 months. We almost got a whole quarter in this year left.
Toss it out. Do nothing.
Do nothing and cruise into 2021 and everything's going to get better. I've always been the believer of the way you start is the way you finish. And you know what? I don't know where you've been or what you've started, but let's reflect a little bit on 2020 and see what we've gotten accomplished. Carey, on 2020, what would you think? How'd you do?
I think as an overview, I think first, this invitation is to reflect, because if we don't kind of look back a little bit and reflect, then how are we going to kind of mold or create our future? And so what did you do a challenge this year in January, and did you crush it? I know that we always do, or most people do some sort of New Year's focus, whether it's 8 weeks, 12 weeks, lifestyle change and adjustment, you know. So what did you do? And I think it was right after that, it was the end of February, I believe, that's when everything started to shift. In fact, to mark the date, it was March 13th. So what were you doing in that moment with success, and then what happened? And from that, I think we went into would you call it a 6 months time period? Maybe you're still in it, where you were not sure where you were. But there's something that you, I think I'm going to call it the lockdown. You came out of it. Maybe you just decided that you learned something about what you enjoyed about that time. What was it? Spending time with your family? What was it? Think about it. Jeremy, what was it for you?
I think that it's interesting what you're saying, because I believe, like, out of the 7.7 billion people that are on this planet, like, everybody's timelines and realities are different. I think for me, what I've learned through the last year is that there are 7.7 billion different realities of how things happen and what unfolded and how they were impacted, and the timelines are all different.
It's true.
California, New York, Texas, India, Europe, all the impacts. And it was like, I can remember whenever it was hitting the coast and it was like a tsunami coming, and then now you have these inner waves of how it's impacting Wisconsin, how it's impacting like different states. Like in Texas, we're like, hey, we're through it, this is it, but we don't know what's coming next. So it's just, what I'm getting is like, how are we living in the moment? What are we doing, and how are we addressing what is happening now? Because I listening to someone on the news broadcast talk about the reality of the virus in Austin, in Texas. We are back to like phase 2, rolling back things. And so decision making and how we engage with our reality has been very impacted for me, because how do I want to live in a tumultuous, crazy world moving forward? Because I don't think things are just going to calm down and go back to normal. So for me, it's being grounded in a perspective of what am I doing today. If you remind, in January for us, our mother was sick. And really in February, we got hit with our first 2020 challenge. Our mom was diagnosed with leukemia. And me and Carey were going back and forth to make sure that she was stable, because at first we didn't know. It was very much a first, trauma of the year, because we didn't know what was wrong with her, and the doctors couldn't give us any information. And the way the white blood cells count happens with leukemia, none of this information we were knowledgeable of, and it happened so quickly. And then how we were going to get her treatment, and that was like the first impact of 2020. And then that was 6 weeks later was the pandemic and the way that hit. Mm-hmm. So for us, being impacted from a human experience with our family member, our mother getting sick, how did that impact you?
Yeah.
And so I really think about it, in everyone is unique and different. But We all have our own lives, right? And they call it the hero's journey, if you will. We are the hero of our story. We are the present reality of what we're experiencing and how we're choosing to live out our lives in the current state of the environment that we're living in. We can create a lot of realities. I talked about this with my children and my wife about, you can choose to live someone else's reality, or you can choose to live your reality and determine what and how you want to play. If you want to have a hilarious laughing fit, you can choose to do that if you want to create that type of environment. And so when I think about all this stuff, I'm really tired of generalities. I'm really tired of me telling you what you should be doing because I did it and it worked for me. That's not how it works. Not anymore. And I believe that we are definitely, it's overplayed term, waking up, but becoming aware of our own realities and how we're living out our stories and how we're being the hero. And so where I think about it all for me is inviting myself into my own story and then empowering others to live their stories and how they want to conduct and run their lives. And I think that's where we have to get to ground zero. It's like, well, can we all agree on that? It was like, no, we're not in charge of our lives. Everyone else is in charge of our lives, and we are just responding to what's happening in our lives. Some people live from that reality. And so I get that, and I can't do what you're doing because I don't have what you have. And so there's a lot of this conversation. So first, I think that is super on my side is to say, hey, everyone has a different reality. What are the tools that we can all agree on so we can play the game? And I think I learned this from Mayhem Mindset. That's a game. When we went to Landmark Forum, you were playing a game. That's how they refer to it. So it's like if we can agree on some set rules, hey, I'm in charge of my life. If you're watching this and going, hey, I'm not gonna take first rule, I'm in charge of my life. I'm not in charge of my life. Okay, then we're not playing the same game. Extreme ownership. I'm owning my reality in my life, and how am I going to process through that, and live that. So that's where I just want to counter and think about the general overlay of what goals are, because if we're agreeing right now that you're in charge of your life, there are outside forces that are impacting you, but you can dictate certain outcomes. And so what I like to do is no one owns the inside of you. No one owns your mind. No one owns your heart. No one owns your gut. Okay? And if they do, you can expel them out of you by going through some healing processes and getting that voice, turning off the radio, turning off the news, turning off the voices that are telling you what and how, and turning on what's inside of you. For me, I'm 39 now, deep wisdom at 39 that I didn't have, and it's not yours, it's my wisdom that I'm experiencing. And if you can benefit from it, then I'm happy to share, but you don't have to take it on. And I think that's the uniqueness of the 21st century that we're living in humanity today. And I'm on a soapbox rolling here, nitro cold brew, pow pow to get it on. But guys, you have to take control of your life and be the driver of what it is that you're experiencing. The gap. I go from different experiences in life. Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, he talks about a gap. We talk about it in Wim Hof breathing, is we're creating a gap, okay? A gap, a wedge is whenever we have a thought to an action. The more conscious awareness that we can create between the thought, the gap, and the action gives us back control. So we have to learn how to breathe, process and think, pause, then take action. And if we can do that, we start to gain more control. And that is bringing around about awareness. We have to get on rule number one. I am in charge of my life. If we're starting there in this conversation, then we're starting to have the same conversation. If you say that's not the agreement with us in this conversation, we're having a different conversation, and that's for another day. So, setting some ground rules. When you believe, because you walk from a belief that you're in charge of your life, you're in charge of yourself, you're really co-creating, manifesting your life. True? Okay, so we're on that page. So I'm going to hand it back to Carey, and when she starts to talk about goals and thinking about the past year, how does that dictate, what you experienced and kind of what you're trying to accomplish? You've done things like the Murph Mondays. right? You're doing a 75-day personal challenge, right? You're doing other things that is benefiting you. But, have you written down some goals that you've looked to have really accomplished it, that you've checked off, or have you done other things?
Thanks, Jeremy, for that novel. For me, doing these small challenges in all this time is very important because it's called discipline. And when you discipline yourself because you know you want to move forward, you don't get stuck. This is my story. I believe I am in control. That means that how can I get my mind sharp? Because right now you need a sharp mind, you need a healthy body, and we have to be in charge of our lives. Otherwise, you're right. The news, the media, people around us, incidents that have happened to our life that have been crushing, they could absolutely disintegrate us. So we've lost dear friends during this time. It's a time of reflection on, what can I do for myself to make sure that I'm in the right state. So disciplining yourself and setting yourself up for some challenges. So with all that said and done, I think coming into 2021, it is about reflecting. It is about writing down those things that you did, yes, appreciate is what I was going to say, but really learn something more about yourself. What are you made of? And then taking that and saying, here's what I really want to do. Because guys, what I realize is life is short. We don't have a lot of time, and you better get down to what you really want to be up to. Stop trying to please other people. Do it for someone else. What do you want to do? What do you want to do for yourself, your family, your partner, whoever, but it's about you getting there. So we are going to be sending out sending and inviting you to participate with us, which is really getting into some goals and really setting the intention on what it is you want to do with your future and how you want to march into 2021, not having saying, yeah, great, we're glad we made it through 2020, but man, I actually walked and finished that year strong so that I can move forward and really impact my own life and those that are around me. So I think discipline yourself starting now. What is it that you need to change? What are the things that are holding you back? What are some bad habits you started to create? And then what are the new habits you want? You can obviously wrap that around health, wellness, nutrition. Maybe it's financial, all these areas, but we talk about your spiritual life, your emotional life, your mental life, your physical life, and your fiscal life. What in those 5 areas, how are you rating them? What do you need to work on, and how can we march into 2021?
So guys, I think there's seasons within our realities and where we walk through. We have the natural seasons: winter, spring, summer, fall, and we all walk in different seasons in our lives. There's been seasons of my life that I didn't set goals because it wasn't the season of goal setting, and I was learning, discovering, experiencing in the moment, and that's where I was because I needed to sit still and be present. And then there's seasons where you're projecting and setting goals and constructing what's next for you. So I think that there's a lot of awareness that has to go through this process. It's not aimlessly or listening to someone else telling you what you need to set and what you need to do for yourself, but really listening to yourself. And I believe that, again, that's the season and the age that we're in. Guys, you have to stop and listen to yourself. You have to hear what you're saying, okay, to yourself. How do you do that, guys? I highly encourage box breathing. And so for me, meditation, active meditation is what works for me. Working out and doing breathing actively, doing some cold exposure allows me to get very present, and then I can hear myself and what I'm thinking. So I highly encourage you to breathe, slow down, and listen, and really discern what season am I in, and where am I in transition? Am I in the heat of summer? Am I in spring? Is it a grow time? Is it a slow down time? And then process your goals from there, because in this age, we're always on 100%. I need to crush, smash, destroy, win, compete, win every single day. It doesn't work that way. So you need to discern where you're at. Guys, I highly encourage getting mentors as well that can help you discern where you're at by asking questions, not telling you. And then you can make decisions for yourself. But what we can do is give you a template, like Carey said, that can help you to set your goals, to set you up for success, for your better future, Because yes, guys, you are the hero of your story. You are the one writing the script. You are the one choosing. So you have to listen and be intentional and focus on where you want to go. Guys, this has just moved to a whole nother level in the Ask Carey and Jeremy show. I feel like we just broke the glass ceiling. This is a must watch. Put it out there. Let your friends know. Guys, we're going to bring you some gas. Olean for 2021. We're going to be putting together the breakthrough family style or individual challenge for what 2021 is going to look like, oriented to goals, life, where you're at, and how you can go to your own next level. So we're excited about this season, and we're excited about the season to come. Guys, it's time to thrive and live your best life. And I know these are cliches, but guys, it is it. This is it. This is it, guys.
Starts today.
All right, we're going to see you on the other side.